Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka Mini Wargaming Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka Hey You, Get Off My Lawn. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We're talking about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. It's usually a whole lot of painting and a lot of what is under the sun. So be prepared for that if you've never tuned into the show before. We can get kind of silly sometimes. Sometimes we get kind of deep. But usually we do end up coming away with a couple laughs. And maybe a little bit more insightful. Nah, probably just a couple laughs. I don't think we'll stretch that insightful thing too far. Because, you know, it's not like we're tuning into the Dalai Lama or anything like that. Imagine if the Dalai Lama had a podcast. Or even a live YouTube feed. That'd be kind of fun. Just tune in. Get mellow. Chill out. And so for anybody who's not tuned in before, Way of the Brush, this is basically for a lot of viewers to ask me a lot of questions on miniature painting, be it first timers, beginners, intermediates. Not a whole lot of advanced people ask me a lot of questions, but because most people who have been painting for a while and have built up a steady amount of skills, they tend to venture off onto their own and do their own thing as well. Whereas a lot of people who tune in here, are a lot of people who have just gotten into this hobby and are and are kind of overwhelmed at times, and so. You come here for, a little bit of safety. It's like a little safety blanket. You're okay. It's not overwhelming. We'll get you through this. You'll be okay. So any questions, comments, you want to show any pictures of what you're working on, anything like that, send them to Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below, along with a lot of other little details. But I don't know how many people click the description below. I honestly don't know. I know it's one of those things in YouTube culture that people just don't do. They don't click the description below. I don't know why they don't. So I can see a lot of regulars here today. The monkeys are all present. Mark Hill, hey guys, hi Kris. Hey Mark Hill. Dave Patalia, there he is. Good morning, monkeys, wherever you are. Lazy Monkey, morning all. The Barfing Sheep, hello all, and hello Kris. Ishyab. Folks seem to be getting earlier and earlier. That's great. Hola, all monkeys. Aloha, all monkeys. Out there in Monkeyland. Hi, Kris B. From, it's Sammy C. It's just fun to say. It's Kris B. and Sammy C. Thanks for all you do and love the show and tips. Little gumdrop face. I think this is a smiley. They look like little gumdrops to me. The little emoticons. I don't know. Getting old. Can't tell what these things are. Have a hard time telling the little poop ones from the little smiley face ones, so I don't know. Eric Coyne, hey monkeys, hey Kris. What are you guys working on? I'm painting up some Dark Elf Corsairs. Cool. Like for fantasy, the Dark Elf Corsairs, those are cool. I've been toying around with the idea myself of starting a proper Corsair attachment for my Eldar. Mainly because I don't want to branch off from Eldar. But I want to paint something up different, but something that'll also kind of complement my Eldar. But I also want to do something kind of fancy. And Corsairs seem like the kind of right place to do something kind of fancy, tiger stripes and, camouflage and, whatever, right? And so it seems like that's about the right place to do something like that. And, so I was thinking about starting an Eldar Corsair army. Because I have the Doom of Mimera book. And, it's really great. And for a while, I was using that in proxy for my regular Eldar until the new Eldar Codex came out. Because before that, 4th edition Eldar, they were still shooting with ballistic skill 3 and weapon skill 3. I mean, that's garbo. I don't care where you're from. That's garbage. And so when the new codex came out, well, it's finally, okay, well, I'll switch back to using my regular Eldar because, man, getting my ass stomped wherever I went. Anyway. Knitfink. Hello, everyone. Hello, Knitfink. Eric Coin. Oh, I think I already said Eric Coin. Mad Cow Crazy. Anyone else going to try Tom Clancy's something or other? Division Beta? I like some of the Tom Clancy games, although I find a lot of times, I mean, like, you got to love, the prep phase, right? And when you're playing single player, Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six, it's a lot of fun single player. But when you're trying to get into multiplayer, and unless you get other people who are like in the right headspace as you, man, that game is stressful, and no, I prefer the Wild West of the games like a Battlefield. At least if you're on the same side as somebody, at least everybody's going for objectives and trying to do something. I mean, when everybody's playing grab ass and not doing absolutely anything in Battlefield, that's when your side's gonna lose, because you got snipers up in the hills, guys fighting over planes and helicopters and jeeps driving around and smashing into their own tanks, and nobody's going for objectives. Your side's gonna lose, and so you might as well rack up the points or do something constructive or leave, right? So yeah, I prefer my first person shooterage a little bit more wide open and free, and yeah, you deal with more goofballs, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I've made my peace with that. Kurt Kershone, morning. Well, see the convo's already going. Everybody's talking about what time it is. Eric Coin, it is 6 in the evening here. Barfing Sheep, it is +1 Mountain Greenwich Mean Time. Is that what that is? GMT? Kurt Kershone, technically it is noon here, and I always say morning because I'm in the same time zone as Kris. Mad Cow Crazy, it's 7 p.m. here. Eric Coin, I'm in Scandinavia. Ooh, Scandinavia. Mad Cow Crazy, GMT +1 means Sweden, GMT +2 means Finland. Really? Is that really that big a difference? Is it really? I don't know. Who else we got here joining us today? Vlad Tepe. There he is, Vlad Tepe. Hey, everyone. Says he's working on something or other. 20 to 30 infantry and 1 to 3 characters done. Nice. Totem Lord at Kris. I challenge you to beat your email record today, which I think is around 12. Yeah, we could probably beat it, I think. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows? He's just saying that because he wants me to read his email today. I don't know if we might get to it today. I don't know. It all depends on how much silliness we go through. Parker Gray, Clumsy Juggler, Steam McDemon. That's a new name. I don't think I've read that name before. Steam McDemon. I kind of like the sound of that. Steam McDemon. Jim White. Ishia. Oh, no, I already said these names here. Garrett Thomas Lord. Yay, first one I get to see live. Well, welcome, Garrett. I don't know what the heck these guys are going on about here. Paul0132. Hey, monkeys, question for you all. Does anyone have a source of photos of old miniatures on the web? I picked up a bunch of old Dark Eldar and want some references as far as what those models are. You can post them on the Facebook page, the Way of the Brush Facebook page. Let me have a look, because I'm pretty familiar with a lot of old school models, so feel free. Dave Patel, aka the War Master. Yeah, the War Master in Clash of Clans, for anybody who plays that silly little game. The mini wargamers, not the mini wargamers, just mini wargamers is our Clash of Clans clan. And our Clash of Clans clan, Battle Clan, War Clan. So anybody who plays that silly game, but we have strict rules. We have strict rules in that clan. we're pretty hard ass on newbies, and so you gotta be like at least Town Hall 7 for us, and so if you're not Town Hall 7, get rating, get experience, and you can join us and war with us. GS squared 7, hey all monkeys, hey, the 7 faces, hello all, Danish artists, Johnny Squidbrain, Kris and the safety blanket. It's sort of metaphor. I mean, not literally a safety blanket. Dave Battaglia, episode 108, Zen and the Art of Airbrush Maintenance. Why are you cleaning your airbrush, Dave? Because I don't think we talked about airbrush maintenance yet. Or are we going to talk about airbrush maintenance? Are we? Isaac Neal, Matsu Matayoshi? I'll assume I'm saying that incorrectly. I'm just going to straight up tell you, I'm going to assume I'm saying it wrong. So, yeah. Where are we? Daniel Pagey, hello monkeys and Kris. Steve McDemon, I'm using the old tanks to get used to my new airbrush. Nice. Lucien Valensor. I don't know. Morning, Kris. I have the sickness this weekend. Oh, the sickness. You're not going to turn into like a zombie or anything, are you? How many people, raise your hands, how many people believe the zombie apocalypse is going to come? How many people, like, honestly, like, think, like, it's going to happen? Because, I mean, like, 20 years ago, people said, zombie apocalypse, it's going to happen. And people go like, you're crazy, it's not going to happen. And nowadays, it's like, yeah, that shit's going to happen. So, who knows, right? I mean, whatever. Tolo's joining us today. Hello all, installing a new PC for my daughter, so here, but not here. Okay, so he's here, but not here. It's okay, because when he's here, and he's not here, but when he is there, he's sometimes here, but not always there. David Taylor, hey friends, there he is. Spike you, woo, made it. Mick Whiskey, there's a great name, Mick Whiskey. Hello all. Mick Whiskey kind of makes me think like maybe they should be selling that at McDonald's. Mick Whiskey to go with your Mick French fries and McNuggets. Wargren, whew, almost made it. Hello, all you human beings. Robert Gould, hey, Kris, hey, monkeys. Sorry, a few minutes late. Well, it's not like this is class or anything. It's not like I'm taking attendance here. Well, this is kind of like attendance, but I guess, Steve McDemon, hey, Kris, you might have seen before as Floris Rotert, but you have such a hard time pronouncing my name, I changed it to my Nick. Floris Rotert? I don't remember seeing that name. Floris? Really? Might have been a while then. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. David tell you, by the way, if you want to join us in Clash of Clans, message to join the clan, mini wargamers, and add that you are a vault member, play 40k, etc. So we know you aren't just some random dude or dudette. Dude or dudette. Duders. David Taylor, I'm glad I have a straightforward name to say. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Isaac Neal, zombies are impossible. Impossible or improbable? JS squared, no way to the zombie apocalypse. Dave Battaglia, it's already happening. Lazy Monkey, nope, not going to happen as zombies. It'll be Trump spawn. Trump spawn. Oh, man. Let's not delve into the politics here. We'll save that for another show. The barfing sheep, maybe some sort of rage virus, right? Because it all depends on what kind of zombies we're talking about, right? If we're talking like Walking Dead kind of zombies, then it's not so bad, because you can just push them over and stuff like that, right? But if they're more like World War Z or 20 Days Later, then we're kind of boned, right? And we need some automatic weapons and stuff like that. But Yeah. Where am I? Tape tell you, just look at all the kids, zombies shuffling down the streets, looking at their phones. Yeah, all of them walking around everywhere. People, all zombies. Uh, Totem Lord, the Clash of Clans clan name is Mini Wargamers. Mini Wargamer. Steve McDemon, if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, it's probably due to a disease parasite, but not undead. Well, I mean, like the flesh can rot, right? I mean, like zombies is, it's a pretty loose definition as to what a zombie is. I mean, zombies being undead, like in say The Walking Dead, they would only get so far. I mean, like you wouldn't have skeletons because I mean, like there's nothing to animate a skeleton other than just a couple tendons and things like that, right? But there still has to be some sort of brain function left to control and I mean, at least animate these things. And so, yeah, no. Bob, oh, it's lagging up for me. Oh no. Just reset your browser. Despite you lagging up here too. Oh no. No, it's lagging up. I don't see any lag building. Everything, all the numbers on my end are showing normal. We're showing 5x5. And so, the zombies, are you sure? I think it's going to happen. You know what I think? I think it's going to be an asteroid comes from outer space and hits the planet and it's carrying some bacteria from like either it's like either from Mars or from Earth from 100,000 to like a million years ago, and it's going to change everybody to zombies or do something that creates something kind of like zombies, not undead, just people freaking out and generally being mean to each other, and yeah, so I think it will happen. Or just a big giant asteroid comes down and hits us and whatever. Anyway, on that note, let's do an email. I said. There we go. This is from Desmond. Hey, Kris, I'm Desmond from Hawaii. Just doing some infinity painting. I know you guys are not too infinity anymore, but the models just caught my eye, so yeah. Also, 30K Ultramarines. I know they're a dime a dozen, but I just love to see your take on them. Desmond, Mini Wargaming Bronze. And so he sent a picture of his Infinity. Let's have a peek. At his Infinity. Kind of hard to see with the... Oh, no, we can get some details here. Let's have a look at this guy over here. Oh, look at that. He freehanded that icon. That's impressive right there. Look at that. He's got these icons freehanded on there. I am impressed, sir. It looks like some sort of blue camo-like pattern, it looks like. I don't know, kind of hard to tell. They kind of look like Ultramarines, too. They're Ultramarines, in fact. I'm just impressed that you freehanded that icon like that. That's really good work. That's really good. I enjoy that. Well, thank you, Desmond, for sending that in. Very good stuff. I'm impressed at that freehand work. That's really nice, especially for Infinity models, because Infinity models, they don't have a lot of surface area for doing a lot of freehand like that. They don't have a lot of surface area for doing any kind of fun kind of stuff. Not like a Space Marine army or something like that. Where Space Marines have tons of flat areas that you can you could freehand something like that. So no, it's really good stuff. Where are we in the comments? Tolo, asteroid due to hit Earth potentially between March 5th and 8th. 30 meters wide and long. Well, which is it, wide and long? Or just wide? 30 meters wide and 30 meters long? So it's a cube? It's a cube. Where are we? Bob. Hope it hits on the 6th. Would be a nice birthday present. Mine's on the 1st, Bob. Steve McDemon, kudos on the markings on the tiny models like that. Johnny Squidbrain, love the freehand. Good work. Yes, I agree. Totally. That symbol, because I mean, like, immediately that looks like the symbol for those guys. I can't remember, Oceana or something like that. It's like, because it looked like it had little water thingies in it. I think. I'm not huge on Infinity, and if I was going to start an army, it would be the American ones. Can't even think of the name for them now. Ariandra US or something like that. Something like that. Anyway, yeah, because I kind of like the look. They look like, modern soldiers. They don't have that whole, Ghost in the Shell, Robotech kind of Gundam kind of look. I don't know what all this is about, but yeah. Anyways, like he's like, well, what's Kris doing? I don't know. There's something wrong with his arms. So, yeah. Daniel Page at Kris, how would you get the different color effect with the blues and the purples on the end of a burnt gun barrel, say a melting gun? That's relatively easy. All you need is Druchii Violet, the shade wash, and Gilman Blue, the glaze from Citadel. If you're using the Citadel colors, it's really great because they go on clear and they stay clear even if you deepen up the colors a bit, like a couple layers. You lay that metal down for the barrel, say it's a melted gun barrel, and then you take the purple, thin it down just a little bit, and then start about like 3/4 of the barrel, and then bring it up towards the end of the nozzle where it's shooting from, right? So the end of the nozzle is where it's shooting from, and you build it up, and then you take another layer about halfway, and you lay another layer of purple. And once that first layer is dry, of course, and lay another layer of that purple, Druchii Violet, yeah, and then lay another one. And that way you get this little slight transition going on. And you can lay down as many as you want. You don't have to go too heavy. But it's okay if you go fairly heavy because it'll get fairly dark at the end of the barrel. But that's what you want. You want to get it fairly dark at the very end of the barrel. But you want to have this transition. Then you can take your Gilliman Blue. You could also go with Dracoff. But Dracoff's really, really, really dark. So I would stick with like Gilliman Blue. And then again, start about halfway. And then bring it up. Blue, blue. Wait between each layer is dry. And go in with the blues. And then you can also hit the ends with a little bit of black at the end of the barrel, and then like a light dry brush, just catch the edges of the barrel in a gray, like a Administratum gray or Mechanicus gray, just to give it just a bit of an ashen kind of look, like the metal's burning and it's like ash and charred and stuff like that. And yeah, that's really one of the quick, easy ways of getting that. Oh man, I still have yet to find out what that term is called. The heat treating of the barrel, the heating of the barrel, tempering. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go at this point. Excuse me. So yeah, who asked that question? Daniel. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah. So hopefully Daniel then kind of answers your question. That's really kind of the quick way to get it done. If you're a Vault member, the last time I had shown that kind of example was on Alexis Pollock. The series I did on Alexis Pollock, the Horse Heresy Imperial Fist character, because he's got a melted barrel on his power glove, and I had done that effect real quick on his barrel. Sheo 720. Hey Kris, I totally missed watching the Steve bat rip. I got lost in his eyes, just like Lee. Okay. Jim White, 20 minutes in. Kris hasn't taken a drink of coffee. He must be having a good day. I am having a good day, actually. I feel pretty good today. Well, because, everything's. I think I'm finally getting over being sick. My throat is no longer sore. My joints are no longer hurting. I had this, kind of this shoulder injury going on. I don't know what was going on, but now it's starting to feel better. I'm also feeling really good because, okay, keep it to yourselves. Okay? But Kris gave up smoking, so I'm about a month out from smoking, so I've given it up, and, now, all my other vices I haven't given up, but just smoking, I've given up. About a month, I've been free and clear of that, so, yeah, starting to feel good, starting to feel it in my chest, and starting to feel, refreshed at times, waking up and feeling like I can breathe. Where are we? Melanie Dawn. Guys, I'm painting my Betrayal at Kelp box this week, as Sons of Horus. Are they green or turquoise? I have seen both, and I prefer the turquoise. Thoughts? Yeah, they are a bit of a blue-green. They're a bit of a turquoise color, but it is more closer to green than the blue. There is the hint of blue in it, but they're closer to the green spectrum than they are blue. But yeah, I would go with the turquoise because that's what they are. Because if you stay within the greens, then they just end up looking like salamanders, and you don't want that. The mixture, I believe. Crap, I can't remember what the mixture is now. I don't have it on hand. Because I haven't done them yet because I've been in for the mini wargaming quick tips on all these models. I haven't done the Sons of Horus yet, and yeah, eventually though, I'll eventually get there. I just finished the Night Lords, and I have no idea what I'm working on next. I'm gonna pick a ring. Maybe I'll do the Sons of Horus. I'll get them done. Yeah, maybe I'll do them next. Totem Lord, haha, I think he'll understand what I meant eventually. Lazy Monkey, freehand is the big weakness of mine. I need to practice drawing more. Yep, and that's really what it is getting used to drawing. And, imagining a shape and then creating it. And, a lot of times when I'm showing freehanding, if I'm freehanding like a Space Marines chapter icon or something like that, whenever I'm trying to help somebody who's probably not that comfortable with freehanding designs, I try and break it down to, imagine particular type shapes, block it out into shapes, lay those shapes down, and then start cutting in and, kind of shaping away and, things like that. Try to make it easy on people, right? Especially for those who aren't. Because, if you are already really comfortable at freehanding, you probably wouldn't be bothering me to know how to freehand something, right? Because you're probably already pretty good at it. And, yeah, so I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Dave Taylor at Kris, been working on it. Excuse me. Been working on anything new? Also, when can we expect to see a new art teacher? Yeah, we've hired a new person. I don't know why we haven't posted any of her videos yet. I'm not sure. She talks with Matt, and so it's not like I have any dealings with her. If she has any problems as far as graphics or anything like that, she can obviously come to me and help her out. But otherwise, she doesn't. It's not like she reports to me or anything like that. She reports to Matt, so I have no idea. Banshun. I think we can get the Borgs rather than the zombies. I think we're already kind of at the Borg type stage, aren't we? Everybody's all plugged into the network, and they're all get people standing beside each other and not talking, and they're texting each other. Oh man, so silly. This planet is so silly. I didn't realize that when I got here that this planet would be so silly, but yeah. Lucien Valençor, Adriana, USA. That's what it is, eh? Adriana, USA. Man, a whole bunch of these comments just went flying by. Holy crap. Where am I? Okay, there we go. Bob, somebody should cap the footage and put some dance music on it. Okay. I don't know what the heck we're talking about here. Oh man, this name here, Ruse. I think they're doing this just sandbags. I'm just gonna call them Ruse Sandbags. Yeah, sandbags. Hey Kris, greetings from Marathon. If I were to do a base completely covered in bone, what would you suggest for shading and highlight to get that boneyard type effect? Really, the easiest way I think would go with doing that kind of bone effect would be a shabby bone as your base. Come in with say Seraphim Sepia and create the little striation lines and stuff like that, and then give it just an edge highlight in white, just a bit, not too far, and go with that. Now, if you want to experiment in some color, wet blending or anything like that, then it's a great opportunity to lay shabby bone, take a light brown and add that in there. and come in with white, add that in as well and create your striation lines, or, if you wanted to have like a, slightly fractured like surface or something. I don't know. I'm not sure which way you're imagining the bone, if it's like a whole bunch of bone, like it's like a bunch of leg bones all laid out, or if it's like the whole surface is one big bone, like it's a giant thigh bone somebody's standing on or something like that. I'm not sure which way you're imagining it. So, but yeah, the easiest way is to go with Ushabti bone, and then come in. You can even start off with a base, I suppose, of say something like Baneblade brown, which is this kind of desaturated kind of brown. It's not really really brown, but it's it's pale enough that it provides a bit of shadow, and you can lay say Ushabti bone or Screaming Skull on top of that and create your bone like look. I wouldn't add too much white to the highlights or anything like that, or too much to the surface, because you don't want it to feel like white. You still want to have that that bone like color to it. So I would stay within the realms of Ushabti bone or Screaming Skull. Screaming Skull being a little bit brighter than Ushabti bone. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, sandbags. I'm not going to say with that first part. What is that? Arsibiz? Oh, man, see, I think you just did that on purpose just to mess with me. Here's another name. Landcomter. Hey y'all. Hey Landcomter. Lucian. Congrats on dropping the SIGs, Kris. Yeah, thank you. Well, because I was already ill at the time. I was really. People might remember about a month ago, I was really, really ill. And yeah, so because you're laying in bed and you don't feel like doing anything, pretty much just laid in bed for 3 days and pretty much got rid of it that way. And just, yeah. So the only thing is though, is now, it's kind of like, like sitting out and having a beer and relaxing, and that's when you hear that knock of, how about a cigarette? Anyway. Yeah, so yeah, thank everybody's congrats, Kris. Well, thank you. Hopefully we can keep this demon at bay, keep him locked up, and because this is about the third time I've quit, and the last time I quit was for quite a while, and then started smoking again, and yeah, so hopefully this time we're done with it. We're done. Sheo 720. The camera fades to Kris behind his desk, mountains of cocaine everywhere, really shaking hands all the way through finishes. I hope you cockroaches found that tip useful and informative. You cockroach. It's got to be you cockroach. just the powder all just. Yeah. I'm just picturing. I think it's kind of funny now. Landcomter. Just on a side note, Germans are now able to watch your live show, Kris. Well, that's good. I think somebody mentioned that last week. That somebody said that Germany could watch this live stream now. For whatever reason, the restriction has been lifted on Germany. Why there was a restriction there, I have no idea, but whatever, right? Where are we? Email? Totem Lord, email? Can we do an email? Yeah, can we? He just wants me to get to his email. Aircoin at Kris. We'll help you. Each and every show will ask if you had a smoke. Sure. I don't know. Because I could just completely lie and say I didn't. And meanwhile, I smoked a whole pack or something like that, and went to the bar and made a complete jerk of myself. But let's do an email. This is from Nat. I guess Nat. I'm not getting a name here. Anyway, hey Kris, remember my green Skitaria army? Why, yes, I do. Here is a few pics of my progress. Also, I have a question about my Dragoon. Should be the first pic you see right below. This guy's armor plates are gold trim, but as you can see, the metallic gold was subdued by his yellow legs. Should I change the color scheme, or is there anything I could do to make the gold pop? The rest of the pictures are some Skitarii elite choices, my tech priest, a priest from Reaper Mini, a Dark Elder or something, I forgot his name, and the Ultra Smurfs, first models that I painted when I was getting into this hobby. So, first question regarding his Dragoon. Very nice. Oh yeah, that's right. He was doing the vines on the green. Yes, I remember now. Yes, this is good stuff. I like this. I think why I also like it is because it kind of reminds me of Beltan Eldar. That's another reason why I think I like it. Not to be biased or anything, people. But anyway, so he's concerned that he's got this. This one doesn't quite look yellow. It looks like the heck's that color? Like XV88 almost. And then he's got the gold, and he's concerned about the gold not popping enough. Now, with that gold, now is it gold paint, or did you paint it brown and then do like a non-metallic metal on that? I'm going to assume it's a metal. And the best way to make that stand out more from the legs themselves is come in a bit deeper, darker. You can come in, say, with some Agrax Earthshade and deepen up the gold, and then come back in with the gold a little bit brighter, and then also come in with like an edging of silver, just in a few spots. Pick out the rivets, get the edges of some of these details, and things like that, and really kind of create some definition there. Another one that I like that a lot of people seem to forget about sometimes too is instead of using Agrax Earthshade, using a color like Cardboard Crimson or Druchii Violet, and tint the gold with a little bit of a purple, and that'll give it a cooler appearance and almost an aged, weathered like look. Even though gold doesn't age or oxidize, but it'll definitely create some separation from this yellowing you have on the legs if you give it just a tint of Druchii Violet. If you just hit that with, like, say, Druchii Violet and come back in with gold and, reestablish the highlights of the gold onto it, leaving just a little bit of that purple just residing on the surfaces and just a few little flat points around, like, the little bolt heads and things like that. Purple, though, is a really great way to shade gold. It's a really fun way. For anybody who's not tried it, don't be afraid. It looks really, really good. So yeah, that's one way. Yeah, I like the color scheme. It's really good. It has this very natural like kind of look to it, and yet it's all completely robotic and stuff, right? It's very interesting. I like your vine work too. Your vine work is really good here. I like that. It's all really good. Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. We got on the little plate here. Like that little hazard markings on the piston there. Like, don't put your hand on this piston because it'll get pinched. You'll get pinched. Oh, very good. I like that. I like how you got it really bright up close to the edges, and then you go and you get a little bit deeper going back. I like that. You got like this transition going on here. That's good stuff. I think the metal can come up a little bit brighter, but I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, I like the non-metallic metal you got going on here. Here's a challenge right there, doing these little spear tips or whatever they are. Very nice. I like that. I like it, although I think you have your colors reversed. Should be darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. Very good. I like. Man, we got a random assortment of duders here. It's really good stuff. I like this. I like your subtle color transition you got going on a lot of places as well, like on the robes here. Nice and subtle. Very nice. I like that. He's got the electricity logically coming out of those little nodules on the axe. It's very cool. Good work. And Ultra Smurfs. Oh, these are really good. If this is like your early stuff, well, this is some darn good work. Oh, hold on here. There we go. Get everybody a good view of the Ultra Smurfs. Really good stuff. Nice and clean. Even your bases, I mean, like, you know, using cork is a really quick way of getting, you know, some really interesting looking bases. But, you know, people who are right new into this, you know, typically don't even think of using this stuff to, you know, elevate the base and create some really interesting kind of looks. Edge highlighting looks really good on all your Marines. Some good work, man. Really good stuff. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, so we got some Reaper stuff in here. Very nice. And the Rube. Was a little out of focus. I wonder if that's painted like it's clear. It almost looks like it's painted like it's clear. Very cool. Oh, look at this. Tidal waves on the rack. Ah, I hit the thing. My bad. My bad, kids. Oh yeah, look at that. I like that. There's some really great freehanding out of this guy. Some really nice work. I'm thoroughly impressed. Let's have a look here. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I mean, like, I don't know. For me personally, I don't know if I'd push the highlights on the flesh this far. I think I'd go a little bit brighter, just kind of picking a point, you know, like it's more centralized into the muscle. Maybe a little bit higher up on the top of the shoulder, a little higher up onto the bicep. Not the entire length of the bicep, you know. But otherwise, I mean, that's nitpicky. I mean, that's nothing. And that's really more my personal preference of where to place those highlights. This is really good stuff. Oh, look at this guy. I like the color on this. Nice work on the parchment. Very nice. I like this piece. I think a little bit more contrast in the gemstone. I think you can really get something happening there. But otherwise, this is really great work. Really nice. Awesome stuff. And the thing is this cat's email, which was a Nat Nugendang. Nat Nugendang. I think I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm saying that name wrong, but anyway. Thank you for sending that in. Awesome stuff. Really great work. Awesome freehanding. Just all around really good stuff. I think the only minor critique I would probably have, and I mean, like, it's kind of tough, you know, for everybody anyway, is, you know, just be careful, you know, when you're like I seen like on the Dark Elder dude, the helmet and stuff. It seemed like the white was like really kind of heavy, like you had to build it up back up again, and so white is one of those colors that you really don't want to mess with. And for some strange reason, the more lighter and opaque you go in the paint lines, especially for Citadel, it seems like they get really kind of chalky really, really fast. Even as you're glazing with them, they kind of like just get this chalky like finish, which is really kind of weird. But, you know, what are you going to do, right? Excuse me. I need a sip of coffee. Oh man, yeah. So that was some good ones there. Really good stuff. And Blake J, just tuning in. Cool looking models, kind of a wood elf vibe in the 40K. Yeah, it's definitely a wood elf vibe. I thought it was more akin to Baltan Eldar, but yeah, it's more wood elf. You know, kind of has like the browns and the greens. You know, the vehicles kind of had this organic kind of feeling to them, despite being, you know, robots and, you know, two-legged walker thingies. But yeah, really, really cool. Bob at Kris. Did you and Matt have a discussion on the Swedish Chef videos yet? Matt seems to think that it's just a close-up on your hands you need. Give us an update, please. If I want to do Swedish Chef, I'm doing it right. And doing it by Swedish Chef hands, it doesn't make any sense. It just wouldn't be the same thing as basically seeing myself Swedish Chef and then, you know, running amok, because that's the way it always runs. You know, he destroys the place. He's very destructive. In actuality, Swedish Chef is very destructive, and you know, you'd want to convey that kind of humor. I mean, if it was just a close up of my hands, then it's all very confined within that space, and I don't really see it working. Where are we in the comments? Despite you, I still want the Scarface quick tip. I'd have to watch Scarface a couple more times, like to get that accent down. Because, I mean, I can do the accent, but only after I've heard it for a bit. It's just like it's like any accent, really. I can't. A lot of times I can't do the accent until I've heard it, and then I can duplicate it again. It's like Bane in Dark Knight Rises. I can't do Bane until I've heard Bane, and once I've heard Bane, then I can do it again, or Batman, or you know, anything really. You know, doing like an English accent or French accent or Russian accent or German, or, you know what I mean? Once if I hear the accent for a bit, I can duplicate it, and, you know, in fairly convincing order. But otherwise, yeah, no, I can't do it. Like Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken is one of those ones that is just great. And I'd love to do a tutorial, you know, in a Christopher Walken voice, but, you know. Bob at Kris, thanks for the update. Just tell Matt that, please. Jim White, Way the Brush, episode 108. Kris is cigarette free. Free of cigarettes, it should be, really. Free of cigarettes, not cigarette free. Because that's like sugar free. You know what I mean? I'm not sugar free. I'm not free. It's not like I had a whole bunch of cigarettes and just pop top off and, you know, pull a cigarette out. No. I'm free of cigarettes. The hold they have on you, you know. I'm free. But I'm still on the run. I'm only a month out, so I'm still on the run. I'm like, it's like a chain gang. It's like, oh brother, where art thou? I'm still on the chains, and I'm trying to make my getaway. I don't know where that reference came from, but. Show 720. Kris, I think it's time you went to Matt and made an ultimatum. He gets you the chef outfit, or you two have a shirtless fight outside the office. Jeez. You need an outlet for all the destructive energy. I don't know about that. Especially shirtless. That would never happen. You're never gonna have Matt in a shirtless situation. Not that I can think of. Never, ever, ever. You'll never see, especially on camera. You're just not going to see it. Lazy Monkey. We're going to have to start a GoFundMe to get Kris a costume and some tarps. Yeah. Then it's turning into like a Gallagher show, for God's sakes. For any of you guys who remember Gallagher. Some of you are like, who the hell's Gallagher? Spike, at least you got the baking soda for it. No, I don't have the baking soda anymore. I just got my bottle of lube. It's not lube, it's moisturizer. Prawn Ham Dance, there he is. Well done on giving up the smoking. Well, thank you. Mick Whiskey, you know the other benefit of quitting smoking is you are better able to handle the zombie apocalypse. And that's why also I quit. That's also why. Because I need to be able to run. As it was, couldn't run. I'd run like a couple feet and fall over. And I think somebody made a comment. For some of you guys who are Vault members, you remember the video of me and Steve running in behind Mini Wargaming. We were doing those silly little challenges or whatever. And so me and Steve were in a race. And we didn't race. We were kind of just skipped along. And I remember somebody asking me, or making the comment, like, why does it seem like I'm so short breath after a run like that? And, well, because the smoking. I mean, the smoking does it to you. It kills your lungs, man. You can't breathe. Your lungs are full of smoke and dust and dirt and, all sorts of stuff. And, yeah, so. I think the next thing is that Kris is going to have to start using his lungs more. I don't know why Kris is referring to himself in the third person, but anyway, yeah. The Barfing Sheep. Holy crap, Kris walking. Quick tips? Yes, please. Yeah, I know. But see, the thing is, I can't do a walking until like I've heard his voice and then I can channel him. It's just like Shatner. I can't do Shatner until I got a bit of Shatner, and then I can channel Shatner. And it's all about channeling. But yeah, it would be fun to do quick tips in like silly little voices like that. Like, do the Swedish Chef, hell, even do Bane, the Bane quick tips, Just do every and all kind of voices. Because like I can do a lot of voices. Do like a Bullwinkle. I don't do Mickey Mouse. I don't, just picking voice. Oh, Marvin the Martian. Do Marvin the Martian. And just start doing quick tips in all these different voices. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it'd be good for a laugh. I realize, yes, and it's just sometimes, it's just kind of I don't feel like doing it. There's only so many times that I can make myself look like an ass, before I start to actually feel like an ass. Despite you, yes, do that. A whole series. Yeah, exactly. Bob, episode 108, the reboot of the lungs, 1 month in. Yes, it is definitely a reboot. A boot. It's a boot to lungs. Jim White, a silly idea. Kris's walking quick tips. Kris are walking quick tips. Like me going for a walk while I'm talking or doing a quick tip. Oof, man, that's a challenge. That's a challenge right there, son. That's a challenge. GS Squared, Totem Lord, and Dr. Santos and Spite You. Yes, okay, fine, let's do a friggin' email. Jeez Louise. This is from Paul. Hi there, Kris. Been a long time fan of the show and Vault member in the past. Hope to renew it soon. Please have a look at some of my work for myself and some friends, i.e. the Skitari. Sorry is the pics are not very good, but hope you enjoy. Keep up great work. Thanks again, Etron. Oh, Etron, aka Paul. P.S. I've just started posting vids on my YouTube. So if anyone wants to look up, I guess Etron, feel free, share a little love. Just tell them, hey, we saw your Nurglings on Way the Brush and thought it was pretty cool. And I like them. They look good. Nurglings, nice and clean. You know, teeth are pricked out, eyeballs are pricked out. Usually, a lot of people, whenever they're doing Nurglings in like a little swarm bases like this, they usually don't spend the time to do like the horns or the eyes or anything like that. You know, it's just kind of give it a quick base coat. You know, pick out the little guts and stuff, and you know, hit this, and you know. Although this looks like it was given like a quick shade, like a fully uniform quick shade, and then it was just kind of kicked off. I could be wrong though. It could have been shaded, as it were. Yeah, Nurgling bums. Looks like sandbags. More Nurglings. I like Nurglings. Not that I'd want to have them as pets or anything like that, but or even just you know, like company. I mean, you know, I have little nephews and stuff like that, and they're a handful. And I'd imagine Nurglings are worse. Nurglings are worse than your nephews. Very good stuff, though. I like it. Nice and neat, or neat-ish. I mean, it's Nurgle, right? So I mean, it's Nurgle is like orcs. Painting them, you can lay down a really quick, fast, you know, paint job on them, and you know, look really good, and it works. You can put a clean paint job on them, and it works. The same with orcs. Orcs the same way. You can give them kind of a quick and dirty paint job, or you can give them, you know, a deliberate and nice paint job. We keep getting a picture of these Nurgling bums. Look at this. See, look at more Nurgling bums. What's going on here? Is there a joke I'm not getting here? At GS squared 7. I like that. Nurglings are worse than your nephews. Yes. I do actually kind of like that one. I might change that. Look very good. I like him. Yeah, it looks like he's using like a quick shade. Like he does all the base coat, does the guts, tongue, eyeballs, teeth, stuff like that, horns, and then kerblunk. But the bases don't look as dirty. Maybe it's just the Egg or shade, and he just gives it a heavy shade wash. Oh my god, he's dropping stuff right there. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, poor guy. Oh, it's his guts. Okay. This guy looks like the primer might be a little too heavy. He looks chalky and fuzzy, which is heavy primer. Yeah. First sign of heavy primer, when you start laying your colors down, especially if you've thinned it out a bit, and it just goes like you just touch one point and also it just bleeds all over the place, kind of like, you know, ink on paper, then that's how you know you've laid too much primer on a model. More Nurgle bums. Not entirely sure why we're obsessed with the Nurgle bums, but that's okay. We all can be adults and appreciate the occasional Nurgle bum. Gross stuff though, like gross, like good stuff. It's good. It's Nurgle, but it's gross. It looks good. I like. Just gotta be careful of that primer. Nurgle. Ah. Scary. And more Nurgle bums. More Nurgle bums. See? And you know what the sad part is? Jeez, what the heck is that? The sad part is I keep zooming in. That's the sad part. I keep talking about, you know, like, oh my god, man, you're talking about Nurgle bums, but I'm the one zooming in on them. I think just to illustrate my point is really what I'm going for here. Yeah, it's just to illustrate my point. This is one of those flying drone thingies. Very gross. Looks like he took a shotgun blast or something to the side. Oh, it's very cool. That's really cool. The wings. I see. I don't know if you're done this model or not, or yet, or what. I think bringing in highlights from the outer edge, bring them in, would be cool. Wings like this, really afford you interesting opportunities for doing different effects, especially because this thing has got an insect kind of look. You could use something like iridescent medium and give it that insect kind of look on the wings, even though it's disgusting and gross, but you can still do it. Oh, and we just got this little techno device. Lazy monkey, yeah, Kris, it was for our benefit, right? Yeah, that's the story I'm sticking to, buddy. Anyway, there's no bums in Age of Sigmar. See, no bums. Good stuff. I like the nice shiny metal. I think the streamers and stuff, I would have gone with a brighter color, like the red or something that you had going on. Space Marine. Old Space Marine. Or is it a Forge World one? Kind of hard to tell these days, the Forge World sculpts and stuff like that. Yeah, this looks like Forge World. He's got like little chicken legs. He skipped leg day. His upper body, he's buff. He's buff as hell, but his legs, they're skinny as skinny. Very cool. Keep it neat. Mods like these, I mean, I something telling me that you're priming it black and then painting that red on there. You don't have to. Why do I feel like we've seen these already? Or have I seen these? Be careful of your reliance on the shade washes. Allowing it to pool up on spots. I think we've mentioned that before. The over-reliance a lot of people have on shade washes to achieve their effects. That's fine when you're first starting out, but otherwise, no. You want to be achieving these effects yourself. Very cool. I think a little bit of edge highlighting on some of those metal bits just to help kind of pick them out. And same with the cloth. Just a slight, or just bringing the shadows into the cloth. That's really all you need. Oh, is that it? That was it. Oops, where am I? Here we go. Sorry, I was lost. Anyway, thank you for sending that in, Paul. That was really good stuff. Really liked it. Really good. Lots of Nurgle. Lots of Nurgle bums. Totem, I think this guy has a condition about Nurgle bums. Yeah, exactly. Where are we in the comments? I have no idea. Lazy Monkey. Well, now we know that what one of Kris's other vices is. Funny guy. Spray you. Nothing better than snorting baking soda off a Nurgle bum. I don't even. I have no response to that. That's outside my realm of experience. Make whiskey. Kris lost in Nurgle bum. Yeah. What was it was Sheo, episode 108. That ass, simple but effective. No, it was GS squared. Yeah, I like that one best. Nurglings are worse than your nephews. There we go. We're using that one. Sorry, kids, but GS wins the prize today. What's the prize? my admiration. Sorry, Beverly. Oh, that's a crap price. Who the hell wants that? And who would? Who would? Dr. Santos, well, who doesn't love booty? Booty? Booty. All right, well, since we're still on Nurgle bums, let's talk about another email. This is from Matthew. Matthew, a.k.a. Minodrek. Minodrek? Hansel. Anyway, hi. I'm always a fan of your show and still bad at English. I just finished my first Warbeast and starting hordes with Circle of Oberos army. Their model are so awesome. I tried many new things. It's my first attempt at making a proper base. First time using a wet palette, Vallejo paint, and Raphael brush. Good tool for the job, really helped to try new techniques. I tried layering thin paint on the skin and working pretty well, but I had a really hard time not having a hole in the leather. But I had a really hard time not having a hole in the leather. Whoa. It might has been too much thinned. Okay. Speaking of leather, my wife wondered if there's any good way of painting leather patchwork. Indeed, on many hordes model, you can see stitches on cloths, and it might be a good way to introduce nice color variation. Example, a green, a red, a yellow leather stitched together. But how to make all those colors seem leathery? Sorry, there is only 2 pics of the Warp Wolf, a.k.a. Matthew E., a.k.a. Minodrek. And so let's have a look at his Warp Wolf, which is very nice. I like it. I think you can get a little more contrast in some points. Let's say, for example, inside the mouth, or where the gold. You see how you got this dark line appearing here? You deliberately do that around the model. See how along the crotch here, how it's just kind of, there's no really good separation there. So, yeah, something like that to consider. All it requires is just a bit of darker color and apply it next into that recess, and it just creates that separation in there, helping with contrast and such. The base I really like. It's nice. It's simple, effective. It's cork with like a little bit of lichen and some, like the little army painter tufts of grass, like with little flowers and stuff. Very, very cool. And of course, Circle of Orboros give you the opportunity to do lots of like, natural kind of bases, and get in touch with your inner tree hugger. Now, as far as the leather is concerned, and I think this is what he's talking about. It's like the patchwork you see on a model, right? Like this looks like it's sewn together, that's sewn together, things like that. And really, all it is just differentiating the brown. So say for whatever brown you use here, you use a slightly darker brown or a lighter brown, whichever way you want to go. And then a darker brown. And then, of course, you shade. Yes, Windows, I thank you. Stupid Windows telling me it wants updates. It's always things always wants updates. Update. Stupid Windows. Anyway, and like for the threads, I usually end up doing them kind of like light color, like like bone colored or even white, just to make it really kind of stand out. Of course, you can always do the threads like the leather itself, because you would use leather to stitch things together. Man, sorry, I keep yawning here. The fur and everything like that, I definitely get out of here. Get out of here! Oh my god, I'm getting mad now. I definitely would go a little bit more contrast, just because it feels a little flat. Watch your mold lines. Get those cleared off nicely. Otherwise, really good stuff. But yeah, I varying shades of brown, right? So if you had this color brown here for here, I'd go like a darker brown here. Not too dark, just like add a little darker brown to this picture and add it here. Lighter brown, add it here. Darker brown, you know what I mean? And you just kind of go around and you just kind of make it up. And as far as getting like that really kind of leathery kind of look, a few ways I guess you can go about it is really it's all in how you highlight the leather. Now, if you've seen like somebody wearing like a little big leather kind of patchwork kind of coat like this, oftentimes big surfaces like this, just catching the edges is enough to bring the highlights out and where the stitches are, or even having a color blend. It's lighter out on the edge and it gets darker in towards the stitches, and then this next piece of leather is kind of bright and it gets kind of darker out near the neck, or then it has like a brighter edge along that. Either way, it's up to you how much color variation you want to throw in there. But definitely, if you want to have that patchwork feel like there are other leathers, then yeah, you want to go with different hues of brown. Not too far off from each other, because you don't want it feeling like like a checkerboard or anything like that. Like you don't want to have a bright square and a dark square and a bright square and a dark square. You don't want to do that. You want to have varying tones off the mid tone. And you want to have it, because like right now how it looks good. It looks like leather there, and it sits nicely with the leather on his arms, and then the gold, and it all has this very two-tone kind of feeling, this gray and this warm kind of yellowish color, accented with that green. And you really don't want to change that brown too much on the leather by going too dark and too light. You want to stay close to that middle ground in there when you alternate the colors around, if you really want to bring out that patchwork of leather. So hopefully, Matthew, that helps. And hopefully you send in some more pictures of your work, because that looks pretty darn good. And I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more contrast in there and create some separation between the armor plates and the flesh. All right, where are we back in these comments? Converticus? What invisible update is haunting me now? No, it was my computer. It wants updates. Just wants updates. Guy on YouTube. Exactly. Oh. I guess guy on YouTube has been here for a bit. I didn't realize this. GS Squared, what model was that wolf? It was a Warp Wolf from Hordes, which is Privateer Press's company. Privateer Press is the company. War Machine and Hordes is the game. The faction is Circle of Orboros, and that wolf model, there's a couple wolf models like that. And that one is like the Warpborn Stalker, or the Warp Wolf, or I can't remember. I think it's Warpborn. Does he tell me what it was? No, he doesn't tell me what it is. I think it's a Warp Wolf Stalker. Or Warpborn Stalker. Warpborn? I can't remember. Anyway. Warp Wolf? Yeah, everybody's saying it's a Warp Wolf. Yeah. The Barfing Sheep. Got to have those bums, man. Forget Slaanesh. Legion Painting. So, how FaZe getting on the spot on the CSGO ESL Pro League A? What? What the hell was all that? I don't know what that was. The CSGO ESL Pro League. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know. That guy on YouTube. Yes, you have recognized me. I have recognized you? I have recognized. You're the guy on YouTube. I know. I realize that. But who? Dr. Zandos, people seen those Death Watch models? I have seen those Death Watch models, and I've seen the Gene Stealers today. And yeah, the Gene Stealers look really, really good. I was really surprised at how well those models look. And like the Magos just look so cool. And the hybrid dudes, is it the first generation hybrids? They're the big lunky ones with like the wrenches and stuff. Very, very, very cool. I get a feeling that this game, when it comes out, is just going to be, Space Marines move through the hallways and just, basically massacring peons. But, what Space Marine player doesn't love just massacring peons? I mean, it seems like, it appeals to that kind of mentality, I think. I think Space Marine players like to massacre peons. I think that's the kind of cats they are. They like to massacre peons. Shio 720. It's nerd stuff, Kris. What's nerd stuff? Okay, it's nerd stuff. That guy on YouTube. Thanks. My life is complete. Complete. Totem Lord. Okay, I know Legion in real life, and even I had no idea what he's talking about there. Right. Boyfriend sheep. They steal your genes. Damn gene stealers. Wah, wah, wah. Converticus at Kris. How often, if ever, do you use green stuff? Interesting question. I use green stuff whenever I need to. How often is that? It's whenever I need to. Sometimes I could go months without, tearing a chunk off, and sometimes, I'll burn through a whole ribbon like really, really fast. It all depends entirely on what I'm working on. But as of late, it's been weeks and weeks since I've used any kind of green stuff, because I haven't done a lot of sculpting. Last couple of months, I've been doing the Horse Heresy Space Marines from Betrayal at Calf, and that's it. That's kept me busy for quite a bit of time. So, yeah. Clayton Tate, there he is. Gene Stealers or Gene Sneakers. Gene Sneakers and Gene Stealers. But jeans like in jeans, and Gene like in jeans. That doesn't make any sense, man. The barber sheep, I deserve that sad trombone. Lazy Monkey, Gene Stealers haven't had new models in ages, have they? I remember them from Space Hulk looking like they did last time I saw them in a bat rep. I think they did change them a bit when they reboxed them, and they kind of gave them a bit more of they made them kind of look a little bit more like a Tyrannid. They gave them the armor plating and stuff like that. Whereas from this, they looked a little bit more old school. They had that fin, and then they also have that ribbing on their backs. That's more like the original Space Hulk. But the original Space Hulk, it was like a single pose Gene Stealer. You only had like the one pose for them. Whereas these ones could be one pose, but it's probably all CAD cut, and you can stick together, and it's only like particular parts that stick together, kind of like Space Hulk and stuff like that, right? It's probably the way it is. Probably all those models are probably all just like a simple little. You can't convert them or anything like that. You just kind of slap them together, and here you go. DGF JBHKNML. What kind of name is that? Jamukafil. As a Space Marine player, I agree. I like murdering peons. Murdering peons. That might as well just be a game right there. Kind of like, you remember like Smash TV, where you're walking around and you're just endless bullets, and you got all these wave of dudes just coming at you, and that's murdering peons right there. Guys are coming, just mowing them down. Yeah, that's murdering peons. And in fact, I have to make a game like that. Murdering peons. Dr. Xantos at Kris, like chaff before the wind. If I got that right. Chaff? Yeah. Chaff? Yeah. That's right. Because when they're dehusking like corn and stuff like that, and and like seeds, and that's chaff. Yeah, chaff and oil because they. Yeah, I think that's the way it goes, right? I don't know. I had to do the whole thing with the thing and scoop, you know. Oh, it's one of those days. Gareth Thomas Lord at Kris. Any tips for wood effects on a bolt gun to make them look kind of old? It's for 30k Space Wolves. So you're talking about you want to do like say the casing look like like wood. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that to a bolt gun casing, and I'm all for it. To do that on the casing, you kind of have to decide. Well, what kind of wood you want to go with, because you can go with a lighter wood, say something that looks kind of like a maple or something like that, where you know the wood itself has a very very light color, almost like ushabti bone, or you know, it's a very very light color, and then you come in and you come in with just a slightly darker brown and just draw in the lines, just slightly darker brown, not very dark, and then you can draw it like that. And if for a bolt gun, so imagine the bolt gun shape running this way, I would draw the lines like that, you know. If you want to do something more like an oak, or you know, something a darker kind of wood, you know, then you know, I mean, like, you know, there's many different ways you can go about making this wood effect on the gun. And it also too, because I mean, like, if you're Marines, you know, it depends on what color the Marine is, right? If the Marine is very bright, you know, very light colored, you might want to go with a darker wood color for the bolt gun versus a very light color, because it might get lost in, you know, in all the bright colors. But it's very very interesting. Definitely would start with your mid-tone color as your base, and then draw in the darker lines, the wood grain, drawing in dark. And then if you need to shade and bring some, you know, definition, some color down or whatever, you can always use like you know, colors like Agrax or Reichland Flesh Shade or Seraphim Sepia. Thin them down just a little bit, and then over the entirety of the face of that wood panel, bring that color down, and then just do it in a couple quick layers, and then so that way you don't kill the wood grain, and then you'll also get this kind of different colors in the wood grain, and it'll give you this whole appearance. And then also too, you can also hit it with like a gloss or something, give it that stained kind of varnished kind of look, right? Again, very very interesting idea. I kind of like that, like throwing a wood grain on a bolt gun casing. It's very interesting. Doing it on, like, say, the handle would be kind of a tight and small space. I don't think it's enough there. Doing it on the mechanical bits itself, I don't think kind of works logically, because, you know, I think, oh man, I can't stop yawning. Sorry about that. Doing the wood on the casing itself, I think, is pretty much your only option. But I think that would be like the best option, because yeah, that would be very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen the bolt gun casing painted like wood, like it was like a shell of wood on top of the gun. And if you do it. Send me pictures, please, because I'd like to see what you did. Where are we in the comments? That guy on YouTube, the way he says "murdering peons" sounds like John Cena theme. Should be after he says it. Okay. Despite you, now I know how Kris feels. You're watching and reading the comments. Then you look down for a second to work on a model or otherwise, and then bam, totally lost in the comments. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I go do an email, come back, and it's like, I don't know, people are talking, trading recipes, and, you know, I don't even know what the heck they're talking about half the time. Slow Show at Kris. Have you ever independently designed or printed your own custom model? If not, is this something you've ever thought about? Yes, actually it is. Doing my own model. I've sort of gotten into 3D, and I've been meaning to play around with ZBrush, because ZBrush seems for me about the easiest one to get into some 3D printing and 3D sculpting. Mainly because it takes it like that 3D object, and then it allows you to play with it like clay, versus other programs where it's like, here's a rectangle, now break the polygons apart and, you know, and make this, and then do a boolean here and drop the negative space, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, what? No, just let me play with it like clay, and let me pull this and shape this, and, you know, let me flatten that off, and, you know what I mean? Like, it's like playing with clay, and, I mean, I've played with clay. I've done sculpting before in school, and, you know, yeah, it would be fun. So, slow show. To answer your question, yeah, it is something I thought about. Is it anything that's going to happen anytime soon? Not unless I get a wicked amount of free time in my hand and the real burning desire to like really kind of produce something. Because I have had an idea for, you know, some sculpts and stuff like that, and they are all based off of, you know, like my heritage, which is I'm Ojibwe, or Native American for pretty much the entire planet. And it delves into our history and, you know, stuff like that, and also some of the mythical kind of things as well. It's I'd like to do something like that. So yeah. So slow show. To answer your question, yeah. Shio 720, Kris, I saw your Night Lord tip on the lightning. Do you plan on doing one for the armor itself? Doing the lightning on the armor. I did do the lightning on the armor. I don't know what you mean, Shio. I did do. I painted on the shoulder pad and I painted on the shin guard. I didn't paint it on the vambrace, but I figured, you know, show it in those two kind of places in different kind of ways. Kind of explanatory. I mean, you know, if you really needed it on the vambrace, well then, I suppose it could, but probably just complain. John Doe just Googled wood grain, looking at images, have a ton of reference for it. Yeah. Oh yeah, you got tons and tons of ideas. And again, what color you do the wood grain really depends on what color you did the marine. If you did them bright, then do the gun darker. If you did them dark, do it brighter, you know, stuff like that. Converticus ZBrush is 2.5D. 2.5D? I don't know what that means. It is 2.5D. Oh, I use ZBrush and Mudbox at the end of my pipeline. Okay, well, see, like, I'm really new at 3D modeling, so I mean, I've used some 3D stuff before, but that was just like animating text and, you know, things like that. Like nothing, you know, nothing serious, like actual animating or, you know, things like that. You know, and I haven't really done a lot of it lately. Kind of fallen out of it. Not that I, you know, lost interest. It's just time. Barfing sheep. Uncle Tickles. I like that. What? What? I don't know where we are. Converting it's 2.5D because 3D, but you work on a flat plane. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, I see what you mean. 2.5D. I get it. Gotcha now. Okay. Interesting. Didn't know that. Tyler Bortel at Kris. Do you have a quick tip on highlighting where the brightest and darkest points of the armor are right next to each other? I can't remember what it's called. Do I have a quick tip on highlighting where the brightest and darkest points of the armor are right next to each other? Well, I think what you mean is it's kind of like the non-metallic metal look, right? Where you have the armor plate running up, and it's starting off brighter, and it's going darker, but then it's got that segment line running, and so there's another armor plate there, and then so to do like non-metallic metal, you start it off brighter and then go darker. So then you have this seam line, and you have a brighter point and a dark point, right? And essentially that's really all it is. And then, of course, you just edge highlight in a brighter color, just along that fine little edge, just to, you know, really kind of bring that out. But otherwise, yeah. I've shown it a few times, like on videos, but that was more or less just kind of alternating the way the shade works, like the shading. Like I did it, like on the Storm Raven. I think I'd shown it on a Storm Raven's wing, where I started off bright, or the mid-tone really, went dark, and then started off bright again, and then went dark. Creates an alternating effect. It's kind of like non-metallic metal, where each panel has that kind of independent kind of feeling. If you don't want it to go that contrasty, you can always be mindful of, say, you're starting off fairly mid-tone and you're building it up just a bit, and then again you start off with your same mid-tone again, and then you build it up just a little bit darker. So that way you almost have like this gradient running through the entire wing, instead of feeling like this panel's separate from this panel, you know what I mean? And it feels kind of like it's getting progressively darker, each of those little panels. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think it was one of the wet blending demos. I think I was showing that one on. Yeah, and when you're doing like a larger surface like that, like a wing of a plane or anything like that, yeah, I definitely would recommend using a retardant for those. Vallejo Cell is a really good one. It mixes well with Vallejo paints, obviously, and any of the thin body paints, as well as Citadel paints as well, but it tends to make the Citadel paint feel a little bit thicker, when in fact it's not, but it does make the paint a little bit thinner in opacity. So be mindful of that. Legion painting. I don't know what that means. Sheo720, I meant, will you be doing a tutorial on the Night Lord's armor, the blue and the gold, etc.? Oh, okay. I was not really going to show the rest of the armor, because I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. But maybe I do need to, because I was talking with Lee, and Lee, we were back and forth about the gold on the Night Lord, because the gold appears to be post-heresy on a Night Lord, and pre-heresy Night Lords have silver. They're trimmed, everything is silver on them. There's no gold on them, and all the artwork I see of the pre-heresy Marines, it's all silver on their armor. And so I was going to do silver, but I figured it was kind of self-explanatory, and I didn't think it was it was needed. But maybe I'll do it anyway, just to show, because it is pre-heresy. Because like all the color schemes, are pretty unique, other than like the Raven Guard. The Raven Guard, that's post-heresy. But otherwise, everybody, like even the Iron Hands. The Iron Hand ones, that's my interpretation of how the Iron Hands color scheme is, because it's darker silver and silver, It almost looks like black, but the way it's highlighted isn't like how they show. Like, for example, like if it was black like Raven Guard, then it would look like that, but it doesn't. It looks like a dark metal, and so that's why in those videos I painted the Iron Hands the way I did, because it looked more like the artwork. Sub 12 Hertz at Kris. I've heard two schools of thought on highlighting. One recommends using lighter shade to paint, 3-up method, while another recommends simply mixing your base coat with white and using that. Typically, like there's probably more than that as far as ways of highlighting, right? Because let's say, for example, you start. Let's say for example, Ultramarines, a blue. You start with a base coat of Ultramarine blue, or McCraig. What is the McCraig blue? McCraig blue. And you can add white to that and build your highlights up, right? That's one way. Now that's a fairly time-consuming way of doing it. Or you can get the colors that are pretty much like that mixture and just use those colors right out of the bottle and just apply them to the model. And that's the way often Games Workshop does create the paint lines, is that it's like, okay, well, here's Ultramarine blue, and then here is, Altioch blue, and then here is, Lothern blue. And they're all pretty much the same colors if you simply just added white to the mixture. They're pretty much the same colors. So there is that way. Also, highlighting, yeah, you can go with the 3 colors, go build the color up. You could start off with a bright color. You could start off, say, for example, with say Uriel yellow, and you wanted Uriel yellow to be your brightest point, and simply just shade it all downwards. That's another way to go. And you never did any highlighting. In fact, all you did was shade, but you left the brightest yellow as the highest point. That's your highlight, right? So it's entirely up to you. Same for the blue for ultramarines. You could start off with, say, McCraig blue, the mid-tone blue, the base tone, and simply add black, or you could add you could even add orange to it, and that'll neutralize it, and you can shade down with it, and browns, you can add browns to it, and all different ways go about it, and it just give you all sorts of different effects. But yeah, so sub 12 hertz, there's many ways to get to your endpoint, and when you're reading these in the painting guides, feel free to emulate them and do them. And then once you hear something else, or you figure out something else for yourself, then feel free to do that too. Experiment, keep going, keep learning, and don't be afraid of trying out different techniques as well, or a different way of doing something, because sometimes you find it might be more efficient. Tyler Bortel, thanks, Kris. That helps a lot. Okay, good. I wasn't too sure if I was being clear enough on that one. Yeah, I'm glad that was somewhat helpful. Sheo 720. Well, I plan on doing some Night Lord soon, and a much appreciated tutorial on the blue. If you could, that'd be much appreciated. On the blue, the Night Lords, I did show the blue of the armor. I did show that. It's the first video. I did the blue, then I did the lightning, and then I did the face, and then I did the icon, and then and so I was pretty much done with them. But I mean, if you want me to show the silver, I can show the silver, but otherwise, yeah. Legion painting. Kris, tell me how to make a sick display base plinth thing, and give examples, or I'll throw a penguin at you. The easiest way I think you could go about making a display plinth or base, or something like along those lines, some pedestal or anything like that. Go to your local hardware store. Table legs. Find something like that, especially something that gives you a bit of height. And you can put your model on top, and it almost looks like a trophy statue, right? Take a table leg. If you have like a rotary tool and some sandpaper and things like that, then great, because then you can sand it down, you can shape it, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. But yeah, a table leg. Table leg is the easiest thing I can think of, because they're already in those really interesting shapes of like squares with routed edges and like curvatures and things like that. So try that. That's about the easiest one I can think of. What time are we at? Holy crap, it's only 20 minutes too. Let's do another email. Parker Gray, Kris, when are you going to be selling your model holder? Soon enough. I keep saying that. I just haven't sat down with Matt and hashed out the details, but it pretty much is going to be just, I'll pretty much be selling them to, I think, Mini Wargaming, and then Mini Wargaming will sell them through Mini Wargaming store. I think that's probably about the best way. That way everybody kind of feels, it's not like, some shady under the table kind of deal with Kris, buying these things and, something like that. It feels like you're buying something legit, right? Which it is legit. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much what we'll do. Grab the wrong mouse. Let's do an email. And this is from Philip Shep. Shepo. That's Shepo, yeah. Anyway, this is Age of Sigmar Terrain. Dear Kris, how are you? I'm well. This is the first time mailing you in stuff for your show. It's cheesy, Age of Sigmar Terrain, but I'm going for for an equal. Jeez, I can't even read. Going for an equally cheesy OTT paint job. I'm not really happy with the glowing red runes on the base of the Dragon Fate dais. I primed the whole thing black and then painted the runes in ceramic white and then added some. Okay, actually a lot of bloodletter glaze to different layers and finally dry brushing the base along with the rest of the stone. Do you have tips to improve on the runes or the better way to go about for the next time? Thank you for your wisdom. Love your show. Best regards, Philip Shep. Oh. So let's have a look at his Age of Sigmar terrain. Now this stuff looks pretty darn cool. I like the glow. Now, from at this distance, the glow looks good. I think like the icons and stuff like that, like these things, I think they can be picked out just a little bit brighter or darker, I guess. Man, that's got to be a ton of bloodletter glaze to build up that transition, but I think it looks really good though. I like it. Especially on this pillar here. This pillar here feels like a little bit darker, whereas this one feels a little bit brighter. But that could be just because of the dry brushing of the brighter color, the gray onto it, But otherwise, I think it looks really, really good. What the heck? I'm getting a working sign here. Oh no. There we go. Okay. So, here's the next picture. Again, really good stuff. I like it. I like the look. I think a lot of things that people forget when they're dry brushing is that you don't have to hit the entirety of the surface again when you dry brush. So, for example, if you came up from a black and then went in with a gray and then went in with a light gray, you don't have to hit the entirety from head to toe in the same colors. Because otherwise it just gets lost and, it feels very flat. Versus if it was black, you did the entirety in the lighter gray, and then you went in with the really light gray and then did just the ends of the wings, right? Did the ends of the wings. Starting at the end of the nose and just brought it up at the tips of the ear, at the hands and brought it in, and just at the front of the neck, things like that. To really kind of bring out definition in some of these details. But otherwise, very, very cool. Now the runes themselves, I think this is what he's talking about with the bloodletter glaze. It looks really, really good. I think what you need is to leave a little bit more white inside the runes themselves so they feel more glowy. They already feel really glowy, but glowy, is that the word I'm looking for? Glowy? Anyway. Yeah, just a little bit more intensity in the center of the letters. Now, you can pretty much probably take a little bit of white, thin it way, way down. No, I wouldn't even do that. No, because then you're just going to end up fighting with it again, back and forth. I think what it is you have to control that shade wash to go out to the outer edges while leaving the center brighter. Okay? Flow Aid. Liquitex, go to your local art store and pick up some Liquitex Flow Aid. And adding a little drop of that even to like these shade washes will change the way they act, and they'll creep out to the edges and leaving the center, your base color. So if you if you picked out the letters in white and then you hit it with this just a little bit of the shade wash would creep into the corners, leaving the white in the center, but having that overall color transition through the middle, and it should work out pretty well like that. Very cool. Nice and neat. Is that it? Well, he did say it was just a few of his cheesy ages Shigmar. But yeah, so thank you for sending that in, Philip. And yeah, I definitely would recommend picking up some Flow Aid from Liquitex. It's really, really great stuff. You add that into the mixture of your shade wash or your ink wash, and then you're applying it to those letters, and it'll just go out, and it'll leave your base color pretty much alone. It'll tint it, but it should just creep out those edges and, you know, give you that transition. Something that'll be fairly quick, other than doing it by hand and building it up, and, you know, which is, you know, kind of a pain. So, you know, you don't really want to do that. I mean, you probably don't want to do that. Where are we in the comments? I have no idea. The barfing sheep. I got lost in, you guessed it, Nurglebum. Nurglebum. You missed it too. The glowy could use more contrast, maybe brighter colors. Yeah, well, that's like I was saying, like in through the center of each of the little letters themselves, it's got to be brighter, I think, to give that kind of, you know, glowing runes kind of appearance, right? I don't know what the heck we're talking about here. Talking about leftovers now. I don't know. Bob, I'm not picking you up in Brussels though, so add another hour for a taxi ride. Put it in my mailbox since I'll be asleep by then. What? I don't know what we're talking about here. Converticus at Kris. As a well-known studio painter, is there an unspoken lean to paint models to match army colors rather than custom models? Maybe it's just what most clients want, and it's job by job. Just curious. Oh, i.e. polka dot Marines versus chapter Marines? Yeah. Like whenever I'm doing like say I'm doing the Space Marine tutorial or whatever, and I'm going to paint them up. Yeah, I'm doing it to the most common denominator, which is everybody who's painting, you know, Ultramarines. So I'll paint an Ultramarine in a somewhat typical fashion of painting an Ultramarine, just to show everybody, you know, kind of how to walk it through. And of course, sometimes I'll show an alternate way of painting something. And I mean, oftentimes by now, a lot of things I've painted, you know, 2 or 3 times already, shown, you know, the same thing. And I try not to repeat myself too often. But when I do find I'm answering the same question again, I try and show an alternate way of painting it. You know, for example, like painting red, you know, showing different ways of painting red, showing different ways of painting yellow, white, black, you know, doing OSL, doing, you know, bone, doing wood, you know what I mean? Like all these things, you know, just, I try and show a different way each time if I'm asked again, and it's been a long time since I answered it previously, then yeah, you know. But yeah, you typically, is it unspokenly? Not really. It's really just, you know, the masses. It's appealing to the crowd, appealing to the masses. That, you know, I mean, you know, doing the polka dot Marine thing, making up my own chapter. I mean, that's all great and good, but a lot of people will be like, okay, big whoop, show me how to paint my Space Wolves. You know, show me how to paint Space Wolves. Show me how to paint my Dark Angels. Show me how to, I need. And so that's what it comes down to. So hopefully, Converticus, that kind of answers your question. I think that's what you were asking, is like why we, you know, don't venture too far off the beaten path, kind of thing. Is because we're dealing with, you know, the masses, the crowd, what everybody else kind of wants. Where are we? Somebody's crashing through somebody's roof. I don't know. Talking all sorts of craziness here. Totem Lauren, you know the best thing about having a painting tutorial channel is when you forget how you paint one type of miniature, You just look up your own vid. Sometimes I go back and I look at how I did something, and I see if I can do it a different way. If there's another way, if there's an alternate way, because I know that when I show somebody something, I know my way is not the only way to do something. I know there's a bazillion different ways to do it. And, I know a lot of people tune in, to watch what I'm doing. And then they'll go and, watch like somebody like Lester from Awesome Paint Job and watch what he's doing. And he's doing stuff completely different from what I'm doing. And that's fine. And then, because every artist is different. And every artist has something to teach. And, that's all good. In fact, when I was getting into this hobby, I wish I had as much access to this kind of information, when I was a kid, because, man, I mean, like, could have saved me a whole lot of heartache and pain and money. Whole lot of money. But yeah. Okay, perfect answer, Converticus. Thank you. Despite you, Kris, how did you choose your Eldar color scheme? I like the color red, and I like this. I liked the Subhan symbol, and so yeah. Initially, when I was first getting to 40k, I went Altiok because I like the color scheme. The blue with the yellow helmet with the sword symbol. I like that. I had a couple of wraiths. This was before a lot of the vehicles were out, though. Still Rogue Trader days, so I just had the Wraith Lord and some foot troops and stuff like that, and everything was Altiok. All my Guardians were Altiok, but painted more like the Raiders, where they had like the black stripes on them as well. I painted them like that because they looked like out of the rulebook, right? Because most of the rulebook is Altiok, Uriel's Raiders. Is that Uriel's Raiders? Something like that. Anyway, because it was out of the book. Then I ventured off into other armies. I went Space Marines, Orcs. Then I went Chaos for a long time. I was Chaos for a long time. And the Chaos allowed me to expand into, more Orc stuff, because I take Orcs as ally. And then I got into Tyranids, and then Tau came out, and so then I started getting into Tau. And then, but every time I was playing, I was always coming back to Eldar, and I was slowly rebuilding my Eldar up, because I had gotten rid of them back in like the early 90s. And I gotten rid of my Eldar, and then it was 97. I started buying my Eldar again. I started buying my, recollecting Eldar, and because they were coming out with the Vipers and the Falcon Grav tanks, and all these really great kits were coming out, and so I started slowly building them up, and then I always found that whenever I was playing, I always ended up coming back to Eldar. I always preferred the Eldar's play style. The play style for Eldar always suited me better rather than playing Space Marines or Tau or Tyranids or, anything like that. And so then finally decided to get rid of all my other armies and just dedicate myself solely to Eldar stuff. Just Eldar. That's it. Nothing else. And of course that allowed me to, buy the bigger Forge World stuff, like the Planes, the Titan, the Super Heavies and all that stuff. And yeah. Dedicate yourself to one army, and then you find that you get more and more tanks and, bigger units of stuff. And then all of a sudden you start to buy the Flyers and all the big scary stuff, Titans. Whoa, what? You missed it too. I got Orcs in pink bunny suits. Tell them to send them the pictures to me. Yeah, send me the pictures. I'll post them on Facebook. Either or. Despite you, army stick-to-itiveness. Yes, that is stick-to-itiveness. It is. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I was toying with the idea of, starting some Eldar Corsairs. Something that would complement my army. Could also be played separate from my army, but, it's still Eldar and still, just still Eldar. Lazy Monkey, my only Warhammer army was Eldar, but that was ages ago. Yeah, Eldar are good though. I like Eldar. I like the way Eldar play. And Eldar can be any kind of army they want to be. You want to have ultra mobile tanks, stuff like that. You can play it that way. You want slow, heavy ground pounders. You can play it that way. You want fast, ultra elite hand-to-hand combat warriors. You can play it that way. Eldar can play any which way you want them to play. Totem Lord, Kris, you betrayed the Wa. The council shall hear of this. What? Oh, what? Collecting orcs? Yeah, I used to collect orcs because in second edition, orcs were really fun in second edition. They had the splatter cannon and the squig catapult and what was the other one? The zap gun. And there was another one. Anyway, the splatter cannon was my favorite. The splatter cannon was my favorite because you could shoot it I think it was 18 inches it was 18 inches, and then it would bounce 3 times, and everything within the line was hit and took random strength because it was a random ball and chain kind of just bouncing around. And then the squig catapult would launch buzzer squigs into the enemy, and you'd have this little template moving around, buzzer squigs, and they would attack whoever it made contact with. And yeah, second edition orcs, a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun. There was a lot of comedy to the second edition orcs. Then of course they made them all evil and mean again, scary and whatever. But second edition orcs, yeah, they were more like clowns, but it was fun. I laughed. It was fun to use them because they were random. And you playing an army like that, that's just completely random, you knew you'd never win. And if you won, it was by complete luck or just by overwhelming your opponent, because there was just, so much crap that could go wrong with your battle plans. Even your guns exploding in your faces. Like how many times, the Storm Boys. The Storm Boys, you roll, I think, double sixes, and you'd lose a guy because the guy would go flying off into the wilderness, and things like that. It was just all sorts of craziness, and they were a lot of fun. Jack Halter, is that Orc X-Wing in the background? I would love to see a tutorial. Orc X-Wing. Oh no, that's from Babylon 5, man. It's Babylon 5. Probably too young to remember the show. It's a pretty decent show back in the day. Nowadays, you watch it, it's you watch the graphics on it, it's oh my god, the graphics are so dated. Oh. Of course, the other thing is finishing off the nose of my X-Wing too. Get this guy. I'm gonna weather this guy today. Actually, I'm gonna try and get this guy done today. Then I gotta do the little tiny R2-D2. But see, the wings move. The wings move. I would like to do some filming, for the the showcase videos, and then do some, kind of dog fighting, because I also have a TIE fighter as well, and so I have pew 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 pew. Yeah. Of course, I still have an ATST to finish and a Millennium Falcon, as you can see right about there. See, Millennium Falcon right there. Got to finish. Got to get started. Never mind, finish. Just got to start it. Holy crap! It's 1 minute to 2. We are almost done. We're almost done for the day. Where are we? One last email, Bob? Yeah, Bob? You want to do one more email? Yeah, screw it. Let's do an email. Star Fury? Yeah, Star Fury? Yeah, Star Fury. That's what it's called, Dr. Santos. Star Fury. Where am I doing email? This is from Jim Pedersen. Jim Pedersen. Hey, Kris. I've started painting the Khorne army and are working on the Hellbrute at the moment. For the next step, I'm considering using strong tone quick shade from Army Painter. What are your thoughts? Would love to get some input from you. I know I messed up the red. Your show always puts me into a good mood and helps me get through those rough patches with painter's block. Keep up the good work. Greetings from Norway, Jim Pedersen. So let's have a look at his Hellbrute. Okay, so he's not happy with the red, and he wants to know about hitting it with a quick shade. Yeah, I mean, hitting with the quick shade, the dark would probably be pretty good. A big model like this, though, like, kind of hard to say. You know, like, because I mean, like, there's all these little nooks and crannies in around his head. You know, I know some of these details go way in there, and you know, I'm not too sure if you're to do the quick shade, like if you could efficiently get it all off before it all dripped and kind of just pooled up too heavily in some areas. Yeah, let's see here. You see, the red looks all right here. It's a nice deep red. It's real deep, like mold lines. Watch the mold lines. But yeah, I would definitely use the shade wash. I think it'd be cool. It's a great way to finish them off real quick, real fast. The deep brown tones would work well for the gold and for the red and for the flesh. So it's all win-win, really. Just using that one tone to shade everything. Here, this looks really kind of shaded already. I like the green in there. That's kind of cool. Gives you kind of that sickly-like appearance. Yeah. 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 I like it. Looks good. Yeah, so back to the email. He's considering using the strong tone of Quickshade. Now, I've not used Quickshade myself, but in theory, I've seen it used, and like with the varying tones you get and the different effects. I don't know if the strong tone, because the strong tone is because there's 3 tones, right? There's like medium, strong, and weak. Is that what it is? Anyway, you pretty much have to dunk them in. Now, if you're going to apply it by brush and apply it to the model, then it's going to get really, really messy. Don't use any of your good brushes if you're going to apply it by brush. Use, like a synthetic brush, or just, it's kind of a regular old paintbrush, or, some brush that you just don't care about anymore. Just because it's basically a urethane, these big shade washes. And, they're more akin to urethane, kind of wood stain type of deal. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, you could just dunk them in. I don't know if you'll fit in a can, or if you can, pour it out into something else and then just kind of dunk them, and then just give it a few moments, and then you just kind of give them like a quick spin, and you just send that all flying. It makes a huge mess, but it's the easiest way to get these guys done is just just give it a quick kind of spin, and it sends all that crap flying, and yeah. So hopefully that helps, and whatever you decide to either do it by brush or do it by dunking, just because of its size, you probably are better off applying it by brush, just because it's a fairly big model. Yeah, in fact, I would recommend doing it by brush. Just get a bigger brush, a synthetic brush. Use a synthetic brush. Don't use a good sable-haired brush to do it, because you'll just kill a good brush for that. So hopefully that helps. And again, send pictures. Time we at 4 minutes after. I think we're done here. Where are we in these comments? We all done, people? I think we're all done. Yeah, it's a cool paint job. I think it's really cool. Despite you read the stuff at the bottom of the email. Yeah, it's just antivirus stuff, I guess. I don't know. Vlad Tepley, no dark is similar to non-oil. Strong is similar to Agrax. Oh, okay, so it's strong then dark? Okay. So strong is the midtone then. If it's strong as the midtone, then great. That should work out really, really well, and it shouldn't tint too badly. I didn't realize there was dark. I thought strong was the third highest. I didn't realize it was in the middle. I don't know. Like I said, I don't use the stuff, so yeah. But again, it's not like oil. It's not like regular acrylic paint. I mean, it's urethane based, and it's like I said, it's more like, you know, it's for varnishing wood than models. And it takes a while to dry too, and you also have to kind of babysit it because it keeps running, and you know. So there are pros and cons to it. Shab. The works sent in today were awesome. Love Kris's models. Love 40K War Machine, and love the forum hobby that we are all doing. Have a great weekend all. Be well and keep building and painting. Yes, that's good sentiment there. Sammy C. Kris B and Sammy C. Yeah, so send your questions, comments. You want to show off what you're working on. Maybe your commission painting service and you want to jump into some extra exposure, feel free to send me an email at kris@miniwargaming.com. Send pictures. Send the pictures as attachments to the email. Don't send links to, like, you know, Photo Bucket or anything like that, because I just hate doing that, and it's a pain in my bum, and, you know, a pain in the Nurgle bum. And, you know, so, yeah. Send it as an attachment in the email. If you don't feel like waiting for the next Way of the Brush, or, you know, to get your email answered, and you kind of want an immediate response, then join us on Facebook. Just go into Facebook, Way of the Brush. You'll find us all there. And, you know, we talk every once in a while. Usually it's a lot of me talking, but, you know, some of the boys ask questions as well. And, you know, it's obviously always open to everybody to, you know, respond to any of these kind of questions. But, you know, to each his own. Way of the Brush t-shirts. Hey, they help Kris, you know. And I think, also, I'd like to see an entire room, you know, of people wearing Way of the Brush shirts. I just like coming to a room, everybody's wearing Way of the Brush shirts, and it's all, there we go. And, yeah, the barfing sheep. Nurgle bums be with you all. Nurgle bums be with you all, yeah. So, yeah, t-shirts, email. It's all in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next exciting episode. Take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. And I will see you in the next episode of 109, where we'll talk about painting and terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. Hashtag help Kris. Help Kris, or hashtag help Kris. I don't get it. These hashtags. Oh, help Kris. Help Kris. Okay, yeah. Hashtag help Kris. Yeah, but then it's kind of like the UNICEF kind of thing. I mean, like, I don't need help. I mean, they help, but I don't need help. It's a little extra, and, you know, like, little extra money that I spend towards, you know, the hobby. Like, you know, I always tell people, like, you know, the t-shirts, they help out, because the sales, I mean, I put it towards, you know, other products like paints and stuff like that, and, you know, it always gets put back into something here. And, yeah. And Nurgle bums. Hashtag Nurgle bums. Hashtag Nurgle bums. There it is right there. Hashtag Nurgle bums. Alrighty, you guys. I'm out of here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.